In 1999, Morpheus offered Neo a choice between a red pill and a blue pill. In 2018, this country fractured between red and blue. In 2022, I'm here to tell you that if you really want the truth, more voters are neither red or blue. Yet, they have no representation, no choice, and no options. They have to choose between candidates chosen by the red people or the blue people. I'm David Esrati, and I'm running for Congress as an American, as in red, white, and blue. I'm a veteran, an activist, and a small businessman. I'm asking you to join me in reminding the professional politicians in Congress who their bosses are. I support ranked choice voting, campaign finance reform, and a verified voter information system, all so we can stop having the best politicians money can buy. It's time to elect a veteran who will work for you, no matter what color they want to label you. Please go to electesrati.com and learn more. I'm David Esrati, and I approve this message.
Hold on.
In Jurassic Park, you thought those little baby dinosaurs were cute until they turned into out-of-control carnivores. That's sort of what happens to government when we elect people based on very expensive advertising campaigns and propaganda. I'm David Esrati. I'm a veteran and a small businessman running for Congress. You don't want professional ad people and pollsters to sway your vote. All those hot-button issues like gun control, abortion, borders are all politicized to stop you from voting rationally. And thinking rationally seems to be in short supply these days. Most Americans have been voting against their own best self-interest for a long time because we've allowed money to buy our leaders. 1 million Americans died in the last 2 years because our leaders couldn't lead. It wasn't that hard. Mask, distance, test, and then vaccinate. In an instant, we had billions to spend on healthcare for COVID, when for years we've been told we can't provide healthcare for everyone equally in this country. That's an unintended consequence of the pandemic. If you think about it, our government can pretty much do whatever it wants, or what the people who buy our politicians tell our leaders to do. We also had a ton of money to prop up businesses. And next thing you know, it turns out that a living wage was not only possible, but necessary. As a small businessman who won't sell you out to corporate interests and lobbyists, I can tell you that it's time to fully understand the consequences of companies like Amazon, Facebook, and Google and their effect on small business, and to remind you that small business is the #1 creator of jobs in this country. So this next election, don't trust this ad or any other political ad. Do your homework and think before you vote. It's time to put this ad man in Congress because I know that the best advertising is based on the truth, not the size of the budget or payola. Or you can just vote based on who has the money to buy their way into Congress and live with the consequences. I'm David Esrati, and I approve this message. Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm David Esrati. This is my daily live stream town hall for the members, the voters, the residents of Ohio 10, which is all of Montgomery County, all of Greene County, and a part of Clark County. And something happened yesterday that was almost shocking. Mike Turner was interviewed by Channel 7 over Zoom, because of course he has to dial it in because he's always somewhere else. And they came and interviewed me right here in this very studio. And we sat here for half an hour with them asking me questions and filming it. And you know how much time I got on there? About 15 seconds, maybe 20. And it was nice to actually be recognized that, yeah, Mike Turner does have an opponent who doesn't have $1 million coming from 19 billionaires from out of state with 80% of his money from out of state. And that, you know, there is somebody here locally who's trying to raise money and run against him because, let's face it, we don't run elections anymore, we run auctions. So my job is to communicate my positions in a way to get them out to the public in a way that doesn't cost me a fortune, because again, I don't have 80% of my $1 million coming from out of state, and let you know what kind of congressman you're going to have if I do manage to beat the +9 gerrymandered Republican district that I'm in. That district will be redone in 2022, and if you want to watch a video about redistricting, we now have it. I don't know if I've turned it live yet.
I don't believe so.
I've got to make it live as soon as I get off here. But there was an interesting presentation at the Dayton Metro Downtown Main Library branch on Tuesday night given by the League of Women Voters, and I filmed it. And I asked a question right after when they opened up the questions. It was like, maybe the problem isn't just gerrymandering anymore. Maybe it's ballot access, because the two parties have stopped anybody else from running. And our primary system cuts out anybody with any kind of other voices other than mainstream ones. Maybe we need to move to ranked choice voting, eliminate the primaries, open up ballot access to everybody. And the last part is make a voter information system so you're not dependent on yard signs and all this other stupidity that we've decided goes along with running for office. Do you know in the UK they only allow their politicians to campaign for 6 weeks before an election? 6 weeks! Hell, you get elected president, 2 years later you're already campaigning for the next election. This has got to stop. So, I've got lots of ideas and lots of solutions to what needs to happen. But nobody wants to hear about those. They want to hear about me being anti-Biden or this or that or something else that's inflammatory. And the reality is I've got lots of ideas with lots of things to say, including that I think that every politician, no matter if you're elected when you're 68 or appointed judge at 68, or if you've been in there your entire life, like Mike Turner or Joe Biden, that you should have to retire at age 70. Why? Because this country shouldn't be run by a bunch of geriatric old white men. It should be run by the people who are going to build the future. So, I would like to see something fixed in this system, so that we can actually have a chance to really make good decisions about who we vote for. And part of that would be the equal time rule. Equal time was introduced in 1934 in Section 315 of the Communications Act. And the idea was that if you were going to have the license to broadcast, that you had to give equal time to all candidates. Now, and also that the owners of the TV stations couldn't censor things. Now, this was kind of important here in Dayton because old Governor Cox, he owned, well, the Dayton Daily News, he owned WHIO radio, and then in 1948 he owned WHIO TV. So he had all three of the major media outlets. That is usually a problem, and it was fought for a long time. And they were grandfathered in, and you couldn't own the paper and the TV station and the radio station in the same market until we deregulated it, and then we got people buying up stations and creating networks of their own and playing games politically like Sinclair Broadcast likes to do. So Sinclair Broadcast System owns WRGT Channel 45 and Channel 22. So they're kind of on the right-wing fringe, and I doubt they'll ever come and cover me. But, so Channel 7 did come out yesterday because Mike Turner was talking about something we talked about 2 days ago, which was immigration. Because, you know, Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis down there in Texas and Florida, respectively, they decided to do a campaign stunt and ship people off to places like Martha's Vineyard. When I say ship people off, I meant what they call illegal immigrants. I call them refugees from a war zone which we have created in South and Central America, because we backed the wrong dictators for the longest time. We propped up banana republics, and we create a huge economy down there with the illegal drug trade, all coming to the United States because we have no way of managing our medical problem, which is addiction. If we had health care for everybody, like every other industrialized nation, we might start making a dent in that. But no. So Turner got on the air, and he didn't really say much. Because realistically, he doesn't say much most of the time. It's kind of wishy-washy, flip-floppy all over the place. Today he was making a big deal about, the problem that we saw in the TV show The Americans. There are too many Russian agents in this country and Chinese agents, infiltrating our top secret security infrastructure. Never mind that we had a president who was probably working for Vlad Putin, handled by his wife Melania, who took a whole bunch of top secret documents home to Mar-a-Lago and used them to wallpaper his, guest room. I'm sorry, that's a little bigger worry to me than, some deep undercover spy. But, if you want to talk about Russians and top secret and everything else, let's take a look at what's really going on. And that when Putin announced yesterday that all these Russians were going to get called up to go fight in Ukraine, guess what happened? Hordes of them flocked to the airports, to bus stations, anywhere they could to get out of Russia. They are going to Istanbul. They're going to Uzbekistan. They're going wherever they can without a visa to get out of there. You know what happens when you have a whole bunch of people like that just leave? Your economy goes to where really fast. So Russia's about to have some real problems. And realistically, these people are refugees. They're escaping a totalitarian government that's trying to conscript them to go fight in a war they don't want to go fight in. Maybe the smooth move would say, hey, you're all welcome over here, and we put them to work, and we get all their insight on what really goes on in Russia, and we set up a giant disinformation campaign, or actually information campaign, and explain to all the Russians how Vlad Putin really has a super yacht and has been ripping them off for decades, and that they really should overthrow him. And maybe that military they might be willing to fight for. We organized, trained them, and sent the Russian brigade in to go fight Putin right there in Moscow. I don't know. I'm just running my mouth right now. Because this is the difference. I'm willing to talk to my constituents. Mike Turner hasn't had a town hall in 20 years. I'm having one every day. And it's great to see 7 of you watching on Facebook, on YouTube. I can't tell how many are on Facebook yet. I see 3, so we got 10 people watching live. And again, you can comment on YouTube, and I will see your comment. I will respond even to I-70, who is one of those insurrectionists who went to D.C. on January 6th and should probably be in prison for treason. And the rest of you, which are all really bright people. Well, I just dropped to 6, so maybe I-70 checked out. But there is purpose to this. Oh, no, I-70's still here. He says, Russia, 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 stop it, Marcia, whatever. Okay. Well, glad you didn't leave us. Anyways.
He's your most faithful viewer.
Yeah, you're our most faithful viewer. Other than you, no. I know who my most faithful viewers are, and you're free to check in and say hello. So, a lot of people get confused about equal time and the fairness doctrine. And the fairness doctrine came out in 1949, and it was repealed in 87. It required broadcasters airing one side of a controversial issue to provide equal time to opposing viewpoints. And there things got kind of janky and it disappeared. So really all equal time does is that you, he says careful slander. No, you went to D.C. What you did there, I don't know, but it wasn't right. That would make you, in my book, a traitor. But that's beside the point. We don't know if you decide to beat, I'm talking to I-70, by the way. We don't know if you were pushing down the bike rails and running over cops or entering the Capitol. We don't know. But somebody does. So anyways, let's go back to equal opportunity section. What it really means is that they now have what they call political rates. Political rates are ad rates that are equal for everybody. In other words, if Mike Turner buys an ad, I get to buy an ad for the same price. Unfortunately, let's talk about the real reality of all this, is that political advertising spending and political rates are actually supposed to be the lowest rates available But since they buy so many ads, what do broadcasters do? They jack their rates up in election season. And so it costs not only the candidates more, and of course they're spending other people's money, not their actual own money. And what are they doing? They're usually over-investing. They're spending millions of dollars to get a job that pays, $187,000 a year if it's Congress. So let's be real. It's costing every retailer access up until November 8th. After November 8th, the rates drop. But that makes it really tight between then and Christmas to get your message out as a business trying to stay in business during this ridiculous inflation brought on by people like Mike Turner, who have done nothing to solve the inflation problem, have done nothing to fix the economy, but have made it really easy for billionaires to be minted. Since 2000, we've gone from 300 billionaires to 616 billionaires just in the United States alone. Do you know how much money it takes to become a billionaire? One guess, at least $1 billion. Do you know how much time it would take any of you to earn $1 billion? Well, put it this way. Most of the people you and I know, we could be working for about 400,000 years and we would just start to get there, okay? That is how long it takes to become a billionaire. And in fact, this latest interest rate hike, to put things in perspective, if you bought a house for $600,000 when interest rates 3 years ago were at around 3%, now you'd buy a house and have the same payment, and that house would only be 380,000, I think was the number. I'd have to go look at my phone, and that's unprofessional. So, these guys with their bad monetary policy are costing us. And today, the House had some of the big bankers in the House, and they were asking them questions, of course, softball questions, because those guys spend a lot of money to buy their friends in the House. Because, remember, corporations are people too, thanks to Citizens United. So, how do we fix this? How do we fix inflation? How do we fix the cost of politics? How do we make all this shit work so that it's not an auction instead of an election? And by the way, I'm pretty much convinced that's what my signs are going to be. It's going to be auctions, not elections. Elections, not auctions, with my logo on it. So if you want to see those signs and you want to see us have some sort of move towards politicians you and I can actually buy, I need you to go to electisright.com/donate and make a donation. Doesn't have to be big, but make a donation, please. So back to the whole equal time. How do we solve this? How do we make things work? Well, debates are a great way to provide equal time. Unless, of course, you have Donald Jerkface debating Joe Biden, where Donald just talked over him the whole time. But that's, not the norm, because most politicians aren't crazy. Most of them aren't criminals. Most of them actually follow the rules and talk. But I might not follow the rules either, but at least I will stick to my time limits and get cut off. So let's talk about how we fix this. First off, voting in November is stupid. Okay? Because that's the quarter that businesses need to do business. Most businesses do almost half of their, retail businesses do half of their business for the year in the fourth quarter, at least. So, let's move elections to the 4th of July. It's already a national holiday. You have the day off. You can go vote. The weather's usually nice. You don't have to worry about ice storms or snowstorms or anything else, or sleet or hail, or all that stuff. So we move it to the 4th of July. You have the day off. Let's also say let's move to some sort of voting system that isn't retarded, that has you going in and filling out a piece of paper and then having it scanned by a computer and all the rest of this. There is a way to do secure voting. I don't care what Donald Trump says. Yeah, we can vote electronically and it can work. And we can make it so you can't cheat it. It's not that complicated. Let's also skip the primaries, because that's another waste of time, and have ranked choice voting, And while you say, oh my God, that's so hard, and how will I pick all these candidates? Well, that comes along with a true voter information system. Much like a dating site. You answer questions, the candidate answers questions, you match them up, and then you vote for them easily by knowing who your choices would be. I mean, it's so easy. Once you've answered enough questions, they've answered enough questions, the software will tell you how to rank people. And then, hell, you can even cast your vote straight from the ranking software, unless you want to make individual changes. So, we could fix this. But we're not about to fix this. Because money and buying your candidates has become, and buying the jurisdictions and the politicians choosing their voters instead of the other way around, has become the norm. And I-70 says you cannot vote electronically. It's called fractional reserve voting. You don't know what you're talking about. No, I don't hide behind a name. If you want to really start calling me out, I-70, put your real name up there. You know, let's stop playing games here. And yes, voting can be done electronically. There's a way to do it. And they figured this out. I mean, it's possible. But we can still have paper ballots for those of you in the Stone Age. Or we can just do some other things, like maybe force it like they do in Australia and make everybody vote, even the dumb ones. I don't think that's a great idea either, but there are ways to fix this. So let's look at what we have here with equal time. So they were here for 30 minutes filming. I got like a little snippet in there. But you know what we were doing while they were filming? We were filming. So we've got like the whole behind the scenes thing. And we can run that video and show you how they got down to what they got down to. And it might be informative for some of you. Other videos we've got coming out are going to be fun. We're finishing one up about this live stream. Hopefully it'll be done today and be out. And so that you can tell your friends to dial in and watch this, because it's better than, well, sitting there and listening to Mike Turner talk. Today he was talking about those, those sleeper cell agents that are infiltrating our country and, stealing our secrets so they could the Russians could build their missile systems with 2014 Xbox technology, PlayStation technology. There you go. Anyway, I would like to thank all of you who have watched today, and we will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's special because we're going to have Nancy Keel here. She's running for Ohio Senate to run against Steve Huffman, the doctor who seems to think all kinds of crazy things. And she's running as a write-in, which is extra difficult. And of course, the district is gerrymandered to be heavily Republican as well. But, maybe, just maybe, this might be the year that we can funk the system. Do what Dayton does best, funk. We funk the system and get straight D ticket voters to come out in droves while the Republicans are still sitting at home having COVID because they didn't believe in the vaccines because their president didn't either. Anyway, it's been fun. It's been real. And now we've got him talking. Oh, my God. No, we're going to ignore. You're only supposed to talk three in a row, and somebody else has to comment, I-70, or you're supposed to go bye-bye. We'll be nice today, but in the future, you got to wait for other people to comment. And since nobody else commented, and it is that magical 4:20 time that Elon Musk likes so much, we will see you here tomorrow, same place, same time. Remember to subscribe and like and hit the notify bell, and we will see you tomorrow.